Today, someone already has Intel's 12900KS. AMD announced a slew of new CPUs, Intel's first Alchemist GPU officially gets a release date, and more, and Nvidia has dropped GPU prices. Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. First up for today, according to a new post from overclocking.com, a user was able to get Intel's upcoming 12900KS early, and as you can see, they shared the box, which is just a little different from the 12900K with special edition written on it in a slightly darker shade of blue. According to the post, Intel's new CPU comes with an all-core boost of 5.2 GHz, and as we already knew, the single-core boost of 5.5. One odd thing that PC Gamer pointed out is that the BIOS shows an idle temperature of 78 degrees, which is pretty wild. Maybe the user simply didn't have the cooler mounted right? I'm really not sure. But one thing's for certain, you're gonna want a pretty beefy cooler if you get one. But first, the #1 mobile charging brand, Anker, just released one of the smallest high wattage chargers out there, and they've sponsored this video to tell you all about it. It's the Anker 521 Nano Pro charger, and it's a very similar size to Apple's 20-watt charger, yet it pumps out a whopping 40 watts. For reference, this tiny charger can power a MacBook Air at full speed when using a single port. And speaking of ports, it has two, yet comes in at just $35.99, and they're offering 15% off if you hurry. With it, you can fast charge your iPhone 13 and AirPods all at once, or of course your favorite Android devices. It also comes in some pretty sweet colors. And as an upgrade to Anker's extremely popular Anker 511, you know you're getting a great product. Plus with their Active Shield safety system, your device is always protected. So pick up one of Anker's new chargers before they're gone by visiting the link in the description below. Next up for today, AMD has officially announced multiple new CPUs, along with their launch date, pricing, and more. So let's get right to it. First up, the company finally announced the launch date and pricing of their Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. The new CPU comes with AMD's 3D packaging, and it's set to launch on April 20th for $449. As you can see, the box has changed a bit with the mention of 3D V-Cache. Of course, we'll have to see how well it stacks up against Intel before I can really say if that's a good price or not. AMD is still calling this the fastest gaming CPU, so it may actually be worth the price. Either way, that's not all AMD announced. But before I get to that, I will have affiliate links to all of these in the description below. They won't cost you anything more, and they help the channel out. Anyway, AMD also announced another 6 processors along with their pricing, and as you can see, we've already heard about most of these from leaks, but I'll quickly go over them. First, we have 3 processors based on AMD's Zen 3, and those are the 6-core 12-thread 5500 for $159, the 6-core 12-thread 5600 for $199, and the 8-core 16-thread 5700X for $299. Not only that, but they also announced 3 CPUs based on their Zen 2 architecture, and those are the 4-core 8-thread 4100 at $99, the 6-core 12-thread 4500 at $129, and the 4600 GPU, a 6-core 12-thread part at $154. At the end of the day, we'll have to see how they stack up to Intel's 12th gen CPUs, but it's definitely great to see more entry-level parts from AMD. The Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 3 chips are set for release on April 4th. And finally, AMD officially announced that Ryzen 5000, including the newly announced parts, will be supported on the 300 series chipsets with a specific BIOS. Basically, AMD's newest processors are set to work across their entire AM4 motherboard lineup. And once again, if you're interested in picking one of these up when they release, check out the description below. Next up, Intel's VP and General Manager for their Visual Compute Group, Lisa Pierce, officially gave us a release date and more for their Arc GPUs. First up, she announced that Intel's A series of GPUs will be launching on March 30th. Specifically, they're set to launch the A370M first, which means the leaks were right on the naming scheme. You also may have noticed that this is their mobile SKU, to which Intel did confirm that these will be launching first, but it still gives us an idea of what we can expect performance-wise. As an example, they claim 2 times the graphics performance of our integrated GPUs. According to Tom's Hardware, that spec references their 96EU Iris Xe, and they found that 2 times the performance is roughly comparable to Nvidia's GTX 1650 Mobile. So not amazing, but it's about what we would expect for their lower-end mobile SKU, which this does seem to be the lower-end model. She also claims that exact specs and other information will be given soon, which likely means the GDC conference. And when we go to Intel's GDC schedule, we can see that they have talks on their super sampling XeSS, ray tracing, and a ton more. So we can expect quite a bit of information on their first generation of GPUs in just a few days. And lastly for today, I actually have some great news. If you've been following the channel, you know that GPU prices have been steadily going down over the last couple months. We've also heard that we may actually see supply catch up to demand later this year. Well, I actually have a few stories that show things are getting a lot better. First up, according to a news story from WCCF Tech, Nvidia has told AIC partners that they will be lowering GPU costs by 8 to 12%, and AIC partners will apparently be passing the savings on to system integrators, meaning new PCs should see a drop in price soon, though it will likely take a few weeks to happen. And the good news doesn't stop there, as EVGA apparently has a few cards at MSRP on their site, and as of the writing of this video, they're still in stock. Now, they're more expensive than Nvidia's Founders Edition MSRP, but that is typical for higher-end third-party cards. Either way, they have a couple 3080s and 3080 Ti's. Not only that, but another story shows us that ASUS has cut prices of their RTX 30 series of GPUs by a whopping 25% in Australia, sometimes even more than 25%. And finally, Tom's Hardware did an update on GPU prices, and they found that GPUs have seen right at a 9% decrease in prices of the last 2 generations in just the last 2 weeks. Basically, GPU prices are getting better and better. Hopefully MSRP or lower across the board will be coming next. So while that does it for today, are you excited for Intel's upcoming GPUs, or what about AMD's new CPUs? Let me know down in the comments below, and make sure to check out Anchor in the description below. And as always, have a great day.